She guided Britain through the twilight, if you will, of her. I know British people will probably not want to hear that, but, prior to World War II, Britain was really an empire, and subsequent to World War II, it has been a diminished empire. She's presided over that, but has left such an incredible legacy of service, and still carries on that service as we await to hear news from Buckingham Palace. Can you put it in context for us? Yes,
the word is steadfast. That is something that the royal family, Buckingham Palace, when the royal press corps talks about her, the word steadfast comes out all the time, because that is what she did represent through some momentous changes. Terrible things have happened in the last 70 years since she's became queen, and yet having one person be dignified, caring, steadfast, with this amazing sense of duty that has never, ever diminished, is what has helped people to feel a sense of stability.
And people, they may feel very lukewarm about the monarchy, but they always seem to like her. And I think earlier this year, Barbados removed the Queen as their head of state. But what sort of not stunned me, but I thought was so interesting about the ceremony and the process of doing that is there was still a lot of sort of warmth about it. Even though they were just kind of changing things, they still had a lot of affection and respect for the royal family.
That's right. What I heard was that that move was largely a political move. It very much involved Chinese pressure. It was the cost of getting Chinese financial help, and yes. And so the mood of in Barbados itself hadn't changed. It was just it was reality.
Oh, that's so interesting. Wow.
Very interesting. And the Queen has had to. It's interesting too. She's had to sort of get with the times, and that I think it's funny because when we were kids, there was no getting with the times, right? Like it was like, this is how we do things. This is how things are done. And yet, when we had, this explosion of light and illumination that Princess Diana brought to the royal family, and then, of course, with Prince Charles and Camilla, and, of course, now with... it's just been interesting to watch her slowly but surely bring the monarchy into the 21st century. To deal with the things that all families deal with. Divorce and, sad losses of life, etc.
That's right. The royal family and the Queen in particular has one of the best speechwriters in the world. And
I'd love to interview that person.
Oh yes, because everything she says is to the point and it's short, but it's incredibly moving. So that side of things is incredibly modern. But when you see photographs of her sitting room, whether it's Balmoral or Windsor Castle, it is so old-fashioned that you can't stop laughing. She hasn't changed a thing in 50 years.
Yeah. I just want to sort of let people know, we've talked about how members of the royal family are traveling to Balmoral. At least Reuters is reporting that the Prime Minister, Liz Truss, has no plans on traveling to Scotland today or tomorrow.
That is interesting.
And Parliament has no plans on there's no indication that Parliament will change. Amongst the many things that happen, should the Queen pass, is that both houses of Parliament will meet. Right. And so there are no changes in the schedule.
I wonder if that is something that we should be reading into, or if it's something that we should not.
No.
In other words, so the person watching this is going to go, well, if the Prime Minister isn't traveling to Scotland and Parliament isn't going into recess, then maybe it's not the worst.
It doesn't happen.
Or it could be the palaces, they haven't even told the PM. And although I'm sure they have a responsibility to, and because they know that we're going to be talking about it.
Right.
What do you think, Amanda?
That's exactly right. It doesn't happen until it happens.
Yeah.
And until then, everything continues as normal.
I see. Right. So an hour from now, that could change. But as of right now, at the time that we're doing this, the Prime Minister is not traveling to Balmoral.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Amanda, always great to have you to put this in context for us. I'm sure we're going to be talking to you quite a bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
an original CBS Reports documentary.
This place is at the very tip of the spear when it comes to Satanism and witchcraft and demonism.
Has the church been this divided?
Not in my lifetime. They've been radicalized in their approach to politics.
United in Christ, divided by politics.
We have what I call a cowardly pastor problem because they don't want to get involved in the political situation.
Conservative Christianity and Republicanism have grasped hands in a way that's very unhealthy.
There are churches whose members have divided over partisan politics.
How an evangelical civil war could change the spirit of America.
This was a heavily Christian-influenced attack.
When we have the ability to say that God is on our side, it allows us to justify all kinds of cruelty.
An original CBS Reports documentary, streaming now.
I'm Nora O'Donnell in our nation's capital. We're here at the White House with the President of the United States.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We've never done an interview like this before.
That's correct.
Tonight, a congressional investigation sparked by reporting from CBS News. What's your message to consumers?
They need help now. Tell him I feel it.
The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell from Washington, D.C. on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
We will witness yet another moment in history.
Want to go someplace new? Yeah, you do.
See something new.
Learn something new.
Meet someone new. Nate B in the house.
There's always something new under the sun.
CBS Mornings, weekdays.
When weather is about to get extreme.
We're talking about hail, we're talking about tornadoes, damaging wind.
Every second counts.
Let's now take a look at what that really means to you.
That's why CBS News and the Weather Channel have come together to bring you virtual weather technology so advanced, so real.
We can show you what it's going to look like when the storms come through.
You'll see what will happen, where it will happen, before it does. Feel the forecast on CBS News. Time to get prepared. People from every corner of America facing challenges.
Everyone is just looking for some type of connection.
Just raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to help.
Coming together to find solutions.
We are going to do something about it.
Their stories are our stories.
Welcome to Eye on America.
Stream now on the free CBS News app.
CBS News Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley on CBS.
We have an inspiring story that started with a strange act of kindness.
Yeah. We found it.
You're kidding me!
We got it. We share stories that lift you up and brighten your day.
The Uplift. Stream on the free CBS News app.
Stories that inform, inspire, and brighten your day.
I've been waiting patiently for something like this.
Make every day a little more like Sunday morning.
Here comes the sun.
Stream on the free CBS News app Tuesday mornings.
Looking at pictures of the New York courthouse from earlier this morning, where former White House strategist for the Trump administration, Steve Bannon, is turning himself in as he faces a new criminal indictment. As Robert Costa reports, the charges may be very similar to a federal court case